Hello and welcome to the Ypsi Library's teen-based podcast, Tag You're It, where we talk about all things teen and library related. Today we're going to be talking about what's your aesthetic, and I'm here with Kaden, Amelia, and Daniel, and I'm Sophie. I thought we might start out by defining what an aesthetic is. Google says that an aesthetic is concerned with beauty or the appreciation of beauty, a set of principles underlying and guiding the work of a particular artist or artistic movement. But I think a lot of times when we're talking about an aesthetic, we're talking about a style or a vibe. So I thought we would go around and start by kind of talking about what our style or what our aesthetic is. Does anybody want to go first?
I guess I could from just judging off at least what I know about it. Um, I guess mine would be it's like a bunch of different things in one because I'm a very I guess I'd say I'm a well-rounded person, so I do a lot of things and I'm involved in a lot of things. So there are a lot of parts of me that make up everything. But I'm like to simplify it, I say I'm like a if we were to go off like a high school stereotype, I'm like a nerd but I'm a jock at the same time because I'm an athlete. So it's like those kind of make up for the two big parts of me.
I would also probably say that I'm a nerd and sort of emo. Also, if like business casual is an aesthetic, then like maybe that's my aesthetic. um, I don't know. I'm kind of like an overachiever, and I'm pretty sure I'm like addicted to like leadership positions. Um, I like being in charge, but I'm also an athlete too. So, but I also like music a lot. Like I've been in orchestra for 6 years, and I like write songs and stuff. So it's hard for me to pick like one stereotype because I'm just a lot of them. Maybe like girl next door. It's kind of like broad and like sort of describes me, I guess, you know.
For me, I'd also say I'm kind of a nerd, but like for my overall style, I'd say it's a lot of different things. It kind of depends on the day, if that makes sense. Like there are some days where it's just like baggy clothes and I just want to be comfortable because like sometimes if I go to school, I'll be tired and stuff like that. But other times I just want to look like very fancy for some reason. I don't know, it just makes me feel very professional and like it gets me in the zone. And then there are other times where it's just like very kind of, I don't want to say basic, but it's just like a t-shirt, sweatpants, that's it, I'm good to go. It's very like simple. Don't have to pay too much to my appearance, but it makes me happy that day. So yeah.
Well, I'm the fourth person here that says there was it vibe or is a nerd. You'll typically find me around electronics specifically, and especially on after school on Tuesday and Thursdays, you'll find me in a room coding because that is something I like to do. And for style, I guess it would be similar to what Amelia said. Just whatever's in the closet, particularly like black, dark blue, etc. And I guess I enjoy dark colors. I don't really enjoy light colors like white or yellow.
I also like dark colors like navy blue and like maroon. I like my favorite color is probably like either navy blue or like forest green. But I'm kind of like Amelia too, where it depends on the day. Some days I dress like super androgynous and I got like my beanie and like my cargo pants and like my big boots. But other days I dress super girly and I wear like a giant bow in my hair and like a dress and yeah. So it totally depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Also, sometimes I like to dress up when I have like a really important meeting or like I'm giving a presentation or something. So under those circumstances, I'll normally dress more formal.
I dislike dressing formal 100%. I hate it.
I don't think I said anything about like my style, but I guess it'd be like streetwear and like street clothes mixed with like athletic apparel, and then a little bit of like baggy clothes, I guess. Because it's just like sometimes I really care about my appearance, so I might really like try to put on something that I think is like a good outfit for, school or whatever occasion I'm going to. And other times I just throw something on because I don't care about anything. So it's like it just depends on my mood.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Amelia.
So kind of going back to like what Sophie and Kaden were saying about formal clothes. A lot of the times, like even if I'm like out grocery shopping, I try to like look nice. I feel like it's especially been because of the pandemic when we haven't been out a lot. I just like try to look nice a lot. Maybe it's just because like I'm actually outside and I'm actually like interacting with other people around me. So I feel like that's also really motivated to actually like focus on my appearance lately, even if it's something as simple as like going grocery shopping with my parents, even if sometimes I'm like staying in the car when they're grocery shopping, but that happens a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm like doing school 100% online now, and even though I don't have to go anywhere, I still make it a point to like get dressed and to like, I don't know, to try and look nice. You can definitely tell what kind of mood I'm in by like the intricacy of my outfit though. Like when I'm in a good mood, I've got like matching jewelry and like I make my eyeshadow match my outfit and stuff, but when I'm in a bad mood, I just wear sweatpants and cry. And yeah.
I think that's like happened a lot, like I was saying, like over the pandemic. I think even dressing up for yourself, it's really like helped everyone like express themselves, even if they're like at home alone or if they're just out doing simple things. Even if it's, I feel like even like wearing sweatpants or just like overall just trying to make your appearance look nice. It's like really more for yourself than like for other people too. So it really helps, brings up your own spirit.
Yeah. Um, so I figured we could go around and kind of talk about what our personalities are like. Like, how would you describe yourself? And maybe also, how does your style reflect your qualities or like your personality?
I'm like I'm like naturally an introverted person. I mostly keep to myself unless I'm around my friends or like my family. Otherwise, I'm probably not gonna talk to anybody, and I have no problem with that because I've always been like that. But very introverted, keep to myself. I'm quiet, and I guess my style reflects that in a way of like it's like a very low key. Like I don't dress to necessarily stand out really. I dress in what I think looks good, and I dress to like look good for myself, I guess. And then, some people may notice it, but I never dress to be like put on a pedestal or to be noticed by anyone. So I guess that's how it reflects. Because everything I do, well, not everything, but a lot of things I do are very just reserved and low key. So I guess that's just how my style works.
For me, it's like I'm trying to find my just place in the world, for a lack of a better phrase. Outside the house, I'm extroverted. Inside the house, I'm introverted. I have no idea why. I just like talking to people outside, but yet I still talk to a lot of people. I don't get that. Uh, um, I guess how does my style reflect my qualities or personality? Uh, my style does not reflect my personality or qualities at all. It's just whatever I have in my dresser, really.
For me, I guess I'm kind of like Kaden. Like I feel like my style doesn't really like represent my personality, but overall, just like for the sake of like what my personality is, like early on, I've definitely been like an introvert, but like as like closer and closer now, I've become more of an extrovert, and I feel like in a way, I guess like when I said earlier, like my style depends on like my mood or like how I'm feeling. I guess I can kind of like reflect on it. Like sometimes I guess like since I'm changing a bit on who I am and like how like I talk to like the other people around me and how I'm meeting new people kind of like changes not really my personality, but more like my, I don't know how to say, my persona, I guess. And like since my style kind of changes depending on that, I guess it kind of reflects, but not really. But that's overall like how my personality is so far.
I've been told that I come off as kind of like intimidating. I've been described as handsome, dark, and mysterious. But but I don't know. I guess I can be kind of scary because I just have like a lot of confidence and I have a very like strong and vibrant personality. But if you get to know me, I'm like kind of a cuddly bunny and I'm just very like bright and bubbly most of the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I've been told that like I have a very like scary facial appearance because like my natural face is like I have a like my natural face is just straight. Like I rarely smile and I rarely ever like laugh or anything unless like yeah, I said that wrong. I rarely smile unless I'm laughing, and a lot of like most people don't actually see me laugh often unless I'm like around people who I think are funny, and like a lot of people think I'm intimidating because of the way my face is, and it's not necessarily wrong, but I don't try to come across that way. It's just the way I look. So,
Yeah, I kind of have a sour, resting, not so nice face sometimes, and I don't know. It kind of gives off weird vibes that don't necessarily represent what I'm actually like sometimes. So the next question is wait, hold on. What kind of phases have you gone through and how has your style like changed over the years?
I think like for me, some of the phases that I just remember are like in elementary school and like middle school when I didn't really know anything about like fashion or anything, and I just put on whatever was there depending on the weather. And I was just fine with it. And then I feel like as I've gotten older and going into like eighth grade and my freshman year of high school, I really started to dress the way I wanted to and like dress a certain way because that was what I thought looked good. So it's like growing up, I wore a lot of like t-shirts and shorts and stuff. That was like I feel like a lot of like dudes especially always wore those like neon green and like neon orange and everything, those graphic tees with the same colored shorts and they had like the sketches or whatever. And then as you get older, you kind of begin to wear like joggers and jeans and like, jackets and just different kind of sweaters and stuff. So I feel like that just evolves as you get older. I don't even know if I answered the question.
Adding on to what Daniel said, this does not apply to me, but I've seen a lot of people wear like neon shoes. I always find that interesting because it's really reflective. But for me, I guess back from starting like 2010 to 2016, I went to the school be which will remain unnamed. I was forced to wear former clothing. It was a real pain to get up and just put that on every single morning for 6 years. It's like, how do you, why do schools do this to us? Why do they do it to their students? I don't understand. But after, I don't know, like in 2016 to 2018, I don't know. I finally got to be myself, wear basically sweatpants and short sleeve shirt to school. Just be relaxed, not just focus on wearing clothing all the time.
For me, kind of like Kaden, from kindergarten to eighth grade, I actually had a uniform. So every day it was like navy blue pants or skirts and a white collared shirt. So I basically did that for 8 whole years. And I also had to wear like solid black or brown shoes. So there was that for 8 years. So I wasn't really able to express myself so much. I think the only like way I really like express myself is through my hairstyle, except like at my middle at my elementary and my middle school, we couldn't really have like specific hairstyles. Like boys weren't allowed to have mohawks, or like we couldn't dye our hair crazy colors, which is kind of like strange. But anyways, um, I remember in like 6th grade, I had like, it's not really a phase, but like for some reason, every day I would have like these two braids, just like these two random braids in my hair, and like the rest of my hair would be just like down, and I just like wore my hair like that every single day to school, and I got ready like that in the morning every day. And then also in 7th grade, I took like one strand of my hair and I braided it, and then I like just pinned it, and then I would just go to school like that every day. And I feel like I mostly did that just because that's like the only thing I could really express during at my school. But overall, that was that. And then when I went to high school, I guess that's when I started actually wearing clothes I wanted to wear. And obviously, throughout those 3 years since I'm a junior now, I've found like what I enjoy wearing, and then like what I know doesn't suit me that well, or what I don't really like. So that's mostly how I've been at it, and also probably why I have like different like preferences and style, just because I haven't had that much like not really experience, but like options in them early on.
Yeah, I kind of just like wore whatever my mom bought me until I was like 10. And at that point, I refused to wear anything that like wasn't from like the guy section or whatever. Like I was like, no, nothing pink and nothing sparkly, no skirts, just no thank you. And like my hair was cut really short and like I looked very boyish. And I don't know. I guess in like middle school, I dressed like really emo, like I wear like dark colors and do my makeup super dark, and my hair was like a bunch of like different crazy colors and it was really short. And then in like high school, I like grew my hair out and I dyed it blonde and I tried to look quote like normal. I don't know. And I wore a lot of dresses and lots of like bows. I don't know, but now I just kind of wear like pants and like sweaters and t-shirts, and I don't know if I really have a distinct style necessarily, but I just kind of wear whatever seems appropriate for the occasion.
Add on to what like you guys were saying about hair. Hair for me has been a lot of different things. Like I remember, when I was younger, I had like almost a buzz cut. Then I tried to get waves, and that didn't work. So then it was a period where I was growing my hair out, and I had a mohawk, which was pretty cool. I actually really liked that mohawk. Um, then I cut my hair again, and then I let it grow, and then I had braids for a little bit, and that was terrible because getting your hair braided as a child sucks a lot. And I cut my hair again, and I had shortish hair. Then around middle school, I grew it back, had braids again in like 7th grade. Then I cut it again, and then 8th grade, had like short-ish hair. And then basically since 8th grade, I've been growing my hair out, and it's gotten pretty long. And some days I might wear it natural, but mostly it's just braided or like twisted, like in like two-strand twists, if you know what those are. And or I might put it in like a ponytail. But yeah, I like having long hair because it's a lot of stuff you can do with it, and it's also not a lot of dudes that I know who have long hair. Like I think I have the longest hair out of every dude in my school, aside from maybe one person who I'm actually really good friends with. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom always used to give me like literally the worst haircuts ever. Like she would make me, have you ever seen those cats with like melon helmets? Like there's- it's kind of like a Karen haircut, except like the bangs are really short and it's like you have like helmet hair. Like it's bad, okay? And that was my haircut up until I was like 11 probably. And then I cut it like really short, like a pixie cut, because my mom said that I could only like dye it blue if it was really short, because otherwise it would be like too much to bleach. So then it was really short. And then I think in like 8th grade, I started to kind of like grow it out and it was like shoulder length. And I don't know. I grew it out in the pandemic. It was really long. but eventually I cut it really short and now I have like a scruffy bob with like bangs. Yeah. All right. There's two more questions, I swear. We're almost done. Um what do you guys have any like quirks or like trademarks that are unique to you?
I guess the main one that you guys can probably, well, not probably, the main one is my voice. Like, I have a very deep voice, obviously, and I get it from my dad. And it's just like, I feel like that's our calling card for like me and him and my brother. We have very unique voices, and it's something that is like if you hear either you hear one of our voices, you know it's one of us. So it's like a really good identification factor. And then I guess something else, like another important trait is my ambition for like success and stuff. Like I'm a really, really ambitious person. I'm probably the most ambitious person I know. And that's like a lot of people would say that's one of the main things that they like take away from me or see in me. Like when they first meet me, like they see how ambitious I am and how much I want the things that I like, the things that I chase in life. They see how dedicated I am to get those things.
Yeah, in terms of like my physical appearance, I have a very distinctive face. I have like two beauty marks on like the left side of my mouth. I always say that I could never go into a life of crime because my face is too memorable. But, I also have a very kind of like weird nose. Like it's pretty prominent. I didn't always like it. People in elementary school used to call me a witch because my nose is really big, but I've kind of like grown into it now and I don't mind it as much, but kind of similar to what Daniel was saying, I think a lot of times people like underestimate me because I kind of come off as like bubbly and like bright and stuff, but I'm actually a really, really hard worker and I have a lot of like grit, you know.
Yeah, I got a big nose too, so you're not the only one.
Yeah, one time I used to be on a swim team that like had a lot of different like age levels, and there was this little girl, and one time she came up to me and she was like, "You have a very fancy nose, and you're tall like the Statue of Liberty. Do you want to be my friend?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess so." But it was fun, and I liked my nose a little bit more after that interaction.
For me, I don't think I have anything like about my face physically, but overall, kind of like what Sophie and Daniel were saying, I've always been really hardworking, persevering, and like courageous, especially from a young age. I've had to like work really independently in order to like, especially in like my school stuff, to understand like like all of the curriculum and stuff, especially because like sometimes my parents weren't able to help. So I feel like that's like my most prominent trait about me. Um, that isn't like necessarily like physical.
Um, Real quick, I thought that maybe we could talk about, I know this kind of like plays into like our personalities, but like what are your values? What's important to you? And what kinds of things in your life have helped you find yourself or establish like your values or your identity?
I guess some of my main values are like faith. Like, I'm not necessarily religious, but I believe that I believe in God and everything, but I'm not really like a religious person because religion is a really messed up thing. But like just like faith in, yourself and perseverance through whatever things that you go through because everybody goes through stuff. And I feel like everything happens for a reason. So you're going through whatever you go through for a specific reason. So you can't let it overcome you. You can't let it overtake you. You just have to keep going because there's always light at the end of the tunnel because like everything has to end. So it's like keep pushing. And then I guess another value is like just being a kind person and just being like a positive and loving person to every person that I meet because at the end of the day, I don't know what their lives could be like. and me, you know, maybe just saying hi to them one day, or like holding the door for someone could be something really, really important to them during like that day or during that time in their life. So like it's just something that I've always like done and always been at the forefront of my mind whenever I'm around people, is just being kind and trying to be loving and positive in whatever I do.
Yeah, I think kindness and compassion are really important to me. Um, and I think it's really important sometimes like to not to be able to like meet people where they're at, and like try not to like take things personally, like when people get upset or like they can't like meet you where you are. Um, I also think resilience and like having a good work ethic is really important to me and is something I value. Oh, also like sorry, I was trying to think of it but I forgot. The being of service to other people is like super important to me, and like that's my whole deal kind of. Like I'm involved in a lot of service projects, and I just really enjoy serving my community and like, you know, like giving back to the city and like the people and the environment that kind of made you who you are, you know. That's a big reason why I want to be a librarian, is cuz I really like helping people and, you know, giving them the resources and the like relationships and the mentoring or the time that they need, you know.
Yeah, kind of adding on to like what Sophie was saying, I really value like giving back to others, especially because I'm at a time in my life where like everything's going pretty well for me. I think it's really important for me to give back to my community, especially when it's helped me out a lot, and to help out others who might have been in a similar situation, and like struggling for educational support and stuff like that. And then I also, sorry, I didn't want to cough on camera. I also like value balance, especially because like we're all in high school. It's really hard to balance our educational part of our lives and also like um our like mental part of our lives, and giving ourselves a break. And overall, I feel like this isn't just specifically to teens too. It could just go for anyone overall. So I feel like balance is really important too, and giving yourself that time to let yourself have a break even if you feel like you shouldn't. It's really important to me, and I feel like I'm myself is working on this too, and that's like one step to making that better.
In terms of like things that kind of helped me establish my values or my identity, I feel like being part of a sport, and like, I don't know, different collaborative communities has kind of really helped make me into like, you know, a team player or someone who values community. Um, Swimming was hard. I started the sport at like a really late age. I didn't start until I was like 14, and most people start swimming competitively at like, I don't know, like 8 or 10. So I just had a lot of catching up to do for my age group, and it was hard, but I think it taught me a lot about like, you know, being humble and like showing up and how consistency produces results, you know.
Yeah, Sophie, I relate to that a lot because I run track, and a lot of people start running track when they're like 3, and I started when I was like 14. So I was way behind a lot of people, but it just it took a lot of effort and it took a lot of dedication and drive. And it was hard, I'll be honest. It was very hard to get where I'm at now, but it was worth it because now I'm in a spot where I get to like make decisions on where I want to go for college based on that. And you know, I can really do something in this sport and I really love it. So I'm glad that I made this decision to run. And it's like that's something that like instilled a lot of my values, is just persevering through the adversity that was like how far away I was from my competition. And that just helped me to get to where I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to run track and field in middle school, and I was okay, Actually wasn't that bad. I'd average like maybe like 10th out of like 160. My school was really big, so like our cross country team was huge. Like I wasn't the best, but I didn't like suck. But I just like really didn't like running. Running is hard. So I commend you for being good at it, and that's really impressive.
Yeah, a lot of people hate running. It's it's really funny actually. Like a lot of people hate it. And whenever I tell people I run track, they're always so surprised. Like, how do you do it? But it's not even that hard to me. It's just something I do.
Racing sports in general are hard. Like swim is kind of like track basically, and but like in the water. And it's I don't know, I mean like obviously you're competing against other people, but a lot of times you're just competing against your past self, and like your times. And so it's kind of like an individualized sport in that way. Um so it's you have to be really self-motivated and like want to improve at it.
Yeah. I think one of the keys to like track and maybe just sports in general is to not like it's good to have your overall goal of like whatever that is or like a current goal of like for me example, my current goal is to win states, but like the overall goal is to just get better because at the end of the day, as long as I get better, I'll be fine with that. And I'll be fine with whatever results come because I know I put my best foot forward and I did what I could to be better than what I previously was.
Yeah. This summer I got really bored and I decided to like teach myself basketball basically. And like my dad helped me because we both really like watching basketball a lot. But I just kind of wasn't really swimming because I have some health challenges, so I'm not really comfortable like going and doing sports again, especially because with swimming you can't really like wear a mask. And a lot of the people on my team weren't old enough to be vaccinated at the time too, so that was a little bit concerning. But we would like go out every day for like a couple hours and just like shoot hoops, and I was like lifting weights and like running and stuff. And it's so fun like learning a new sport. Like it's really hard sometimes and it like completely destroys your body and sort of your will to live sometimes because like it's really hard. But it's also really fun to like learn new skills. I think that's another kind of probably key part of my personality is I really like learning new things and I value like new experiences and curiosity.
I think like something else I value is success. Like I look at things on a spectrum of like there's either two options in most things. You either succeed in something or you fail. And I know that's not necessarily like that might not be a healthy or good way to look at things because there's a lot of like gray in life and especially sports. But I just look at things as like you either succeed or you fail. And I don't like failing and I don't want to fail at all, but I would like to fail as little as like humanly possible. So kind of there's no kind of, I'm definitely a perfectionist. Success is something that I place a lot of value on. And, I like succeeding. I like achieving things. I like winning. So maybe that's why I'm an athlete.
Yeah, Daniel, I relate a lot to that, but mostly with like school rather than sports. That's why I feel like I'm so like hardworking and courageous. I try to do my best on like every test and get like really good grades. And it's kind of like overwhelming sometimes. And I know it's not a good mindset, kind of like what you said, but I think that like influences a lot of like our like values and our goals too. But I relate to that a lot.
Earlier on in my life, I kind of like didn't try at anything for a while, or because I just assumed that I would lose or like there was no way that I could succeed at all. And it made it really hard for me to kind of like achieve my goals because I didn't really have any. And I just always expected to lose. But I think once I kind of like changed my mindset, I was able to achieve things, like get really good grades and like, get elected to be like president of like the honor society. I didn't think I could do that, but I threw my hat in the ring and it ended up happening, and it's still kind of like crazy to me. And I don't know. Like I said, like I was kind of late to swimming, so I wasn't really caught up in my age group, but man, I remember like winning my first race. Like it felt so good. Like, I don't know. It was kind of cool. But I think a lot of times you can kind of get in your own way. And once you change your mindset, like you can kind of do a lot more than you think you're capable of.
Yeah, like that's why I just said that about how the most important thing is to get better. Because I actually, one of my good friends just told me that yesterday. So that was really what that came from because I was talking to him about like fear of not achieving and like that my goals won't come and that I could be doing all of this and putting all of this work in just for it to not happen. And he was basically telling me that like to change my mindset and to just focus on getting better. So yeah, it's just it definitely can have that negative effect on you. And it's had that effect on me a lot of times. And there's been a lot of times where I wanted to just like give up.
I think a lot of times for me in the past and even now sometimes, I try not to get my hopes up or to dream big because I'm afraid of being disappointed, you know? Like, and
Mhm.
I'm trying not to do it right now because I like just applied for two massive scholarships that'll basically pay for like all of my school for undergrad if I get them. And like I spent a really long time working on like my essays and getting help with that and doing all these like extracurricular activities to like put on my resume. And I'm just I'm like really nervous about it, but I'm trying not to psych myself out and like keep a positive attitude. But it feels really overwhelming because the stakes are high.
Yeah. Now I'm the exact opposite because I am very high. One of my overall goals in life is to go to the Olympics and win. So like I'm aware of how almost impossible and crazy that is, but I don't really care because I've been defying odds and going against like normal statistics of stuff literally since I was born. So it's not really something that's new to me. And I just look at it as like I'm either gonna die or it's gonna happen. So it might as well happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. I My biggest dream is I someday maybe want to be like mayor, which is like kind of weird, but I just really love like the city that I live in. And I think that with, maybe a decade or two more of like experience in the kind of work that I want to do, that I could make some really positive change in my community.
Yeah, that's cool.
This has been an episode of Tag. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Ypsi Library Teens. Also, make sure you're on the lookout on our website, ypsilibrary.org/subscription packs. That's where there'll be content involving the packs themselves, new information about the podcast, and promotional videos where you may be able to see some behind the scenes stuff about the podcast and the creation of the packs themselves. Again, this has been Tag. I hope you enjoy. Have a good day.